What's good, fam? What's going on, family? How y'all doing, man? What's good? Good to see the family members in the live stream. We back at it, man. TSC Unleashed. We in the building, man. I'm Big Q, your boy, hollering at you, man, on this one, man. Good to see the family members. Took a short hiatus. Took a couple of days off, man, and I'm back, man. Feeling good, man. Good to see the GM Kev in the building. Kai, the Grade 84. What's good with the family, man? He said today, Kai said today is my 36th birthday, and I want my B-Day. He says, I want for my B-Day, it's for the Saints to beat down the Bucks and make a statement. That's a very, very excellent sentiment there, Kai. I appreciate you, my friend. First of all, happy who that birthday to my dog, Kai, the Great. Happy B-Day, family. Happy 36th to you, my friend. And the Saints will honor that birthday wish, my family, and beat the hell out of these stinking, rotten Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So big ups to Kai the Great on his 36th birthday. So big ups to him. Gonna bring in my co-host on this one, TSC Unleashed. Uncle Mozzie, what's going on, fam?
Oh, I'm here. Live and in living color.
Uncle Mozzie in the building. In this edition of TSC Unleashed, man, we're going to recap the NBA playoffs over the last few days or so into today's preview. We're going to cover that as well. So there's some new NFL news on the horizon. D. Hopkins, that's right, DeAndre Hopkins, got a big extension, a 2-year deal worth over $50 million extension on his contract. We'll cover that as well. Kareem Hunt got paid today as well. We'll touch upon that. And another running back possibly might get paid closer to home. All reports indicating that Alvin Kamara and the Saints are very close to a lucrative extension. Those are reports from ESPN, among others, that are delivering that news. So without further ado, we'll get into today's discussion dealing with the NBA playoffs. I'm going to kick it off, man. This past weekend was really exciting, man. If you watch some of the matchups that happened, of course, Uncle Mozzie was talking about the Celtics, of course, running through the Toronto Raptors in the Sweet Fest. Of course, I kind of, what I usually do, I kind of make them pump the brakes a little bit as the Toronto Raptors made the Celtics pump the brakes on their talk about sweeping them. Of course, over the weekend in Saturday's matchup, 100-93 game as the Raptors were able to take the Celtics down. Kyle Lowry, 22 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. He came to play. It's too bad this guy can't maintain this level of intensity. And that's the story of Kyle Lowry's, his life as a basketball player, man. He cannot maintain that high level of play. He takes too many step backs and allow the other guys to do it. He making too much money to do that, but in this one, he really stepped up. Jason Tatum finished with a double-double, 24 points and 10 rebounds. Next game was the Nuggets as they took on the Clippers. Of course, Mozzie was looking really good in that first matchup. The Nuggets took them down in game 1 by 9, 110-101. Nikola Jokic, 26 points, 18 rebounds. That guy's balling, man. Paul George was the top dude for the Clippers, 22 points and 8 rebounds in that matchup. Didn't do no good as the Nuggets ultimately took that matchup. Going into the Sunday's matchups, Bucks by 3 points were able to beat the Heat in a good one. Chris Middleton finished with 36 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists to stave off sweeping to keep the brooms away from him. Miami with Bam Adebayo, 26 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists in the matchup. 118-115, the Bucks stave off elimination. Next game, the Lakers says, we got to get right here. They took on a smallish Houston Rockets club that took them to task in game number 1. The Lakers say, listen, we lose game 1 because we have to get used to how our team playing. That's what happened with Portland. Then they reeled off 4 straight victories to knock Portland clean out of here, stealing momentum. Is that what's on the rise for the Houston Rockets? Well, it is if Russell Westbrook can't step up his game. Harden in this one, 27 points, 2 rebounds, 7 assists in the matchup, 117-109. LeBron, 28 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, almost a triple-double day for King James, 117-109. And fast forward into yesterday's matchup, the Celtics pushed a little further ahead, making Uncle Mozzie, or should I say Swamazzi, however you want to play with that, 111-89. Celtics took them apart in that game. Jaylen Brown, 27 points, 18 rebounds in the matchup. Looking pretty interesting there, Uncle Mozzie, in this one here, man. The Celtics really got back on cold right here. of what we known the Celtics to do. Took them apart. Took the Toronto Raptors apart in this matchup. What are your thought process on this? Is this what you were saying that you seen originally the first 2 games before they came back 2 games to kind of push the season there? Is that what you said?
I'm not confused as to what we talking about here. Are you saying? Wait a minute. Are you insinuating that Toronto has a shot? Is that what we're doing?
No, sir. I'm merely saying that the Celtics are leading 3 games to 2. I think the Swansea, or whatever you want to say, he was saying, the Schwam, as he termed himself, I disagree with that. But the Schwam said that this would be a sweep fest. The Raptors made a series of it, as I said they would. 3-2 right now. So this is what the Celtics team that you thought you was going to see coming in initially that would take the series, the 111 to 89 victory?
Listen, man.
I think he's lost for words, y'all.
First off, what we're gonna. I'm not at a loss for words, but what we're not gonna do is we're not gonna pretend that first victory that Toronto got wasn't a 1 in a billion shot. Man, bro, look.
Come on.
You got a 6'2" dude that had to pass it over the top of a 7'4" guy with his arms outstretched.
Made the shot, though.
Cross court in the small corner.
You gotta make the shot.
Listen, in the shooting pocket. You're in the shooting pocket. He grabbed it as he was going up, let it go and hit it. It was one of the most fantastic moments of the bubble. One of the most fantastic shots I've ever seen in the decades I've been watching this sport. But we're not gonna pretend that wins games. We're not gonna pretend that wins games. So when we look at Boston being up 3-0, it should have been a sweep. It should be a sweep. It should be over with as we speak. Because they should have technically never won that game. I'm going to just be honest with you. That was a fluke Hail Mary prayer that they pitched up and then went in. Off the fluke Hail Mary pass that went in. Those things happen, but you cannot demote my Swami code or take my Swami stripes away from me because of some fluke play. They were outplayed top to bottom that entire game. It was just one fluke play with 0.5 seconds left, which is almost no time to even get a shot off, and it went in. I commend them for it.
Okay.
It comes in a dub column, but we're not gonna sit and pretend like you're gonna win series that way.
Okay. Well,
Boston and Miami.
What I'm asking about, Uncle Maz, is the fact that I get you on that one, on that game, but the next game they won 2 games against your Celtic club. So the second one wasn't luck either, was it?
The laws of averages. Okay, the laws of averages are at play here. Had we beat them like we were supposed to and they hadn't made the Hail Mary clutch shot heard from around the world, we'd have won what? I want to say 9 straight. So it's inevitable. You know, you win 9-10 games, especially when you're playing opponents on a repetitive night in, night out basis as we do in the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, you might drop one. You may. I mean, even Jordan dropped one. It's cool. But, like, this is the thing. Technically, that series should be open. We should be waiting for the winner we should be waiting for Miami. So we're not going to sit here and say that Toronto did a phenomenal job. I think it was more of us beating us and beating ourselves, fatigue. Everything is kind of catching up to us or catching up with us. So it's just a hiccup in the road. We'll rebound. We'll catch our breath, rebound, and we'll be right back at it. And both Boston and Miami will be advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals this week, period. I've spoken.
All right. The Swami says he's spoken. The Celtics take command of the series 3-2. Next matchup, another Swami special. The Clippers and the Nuggets, man. The Schwam has the Nuggets in this one. As fantastical as that sound, we'll just have to go with the Swam on it. 113-107. The Clippers take control of the series 2-1 behind a real good swell player, Paul George, 32 points in the matchup, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Nikola Jokic, man, he's balling. I got to give it to Jokic. He's the truth. 32 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists in this matchup. They still lose 113-107. What's your call on this one, Swami?
Well, I mean, Porter and Murray they were off. I mean, I think they combined for a total of like 10 for 31 or something on that order. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. But like, you know what I'm saying? in the words of Nino Brown, right? Kareem Abba, the educated brother from the bank, he the real leader of the CMB, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. Kawhi Leonard, the Claw, the new coming, this, that, all this had 6 points last night. Had 6 points, 10 points, something on that order. Couple of assists, he was all right in that department, but you know, the last couple games, this man's been invisible. Even though they've been winning, even when they've played decently, he still has not been there. They will not be this team without Kawhi stepping up. So, you know, that's what we are. So you got to understand that Kawhi Leonard is a catalyst. They're trying to throw it on Paul George, but he's a raving lunatic, a depressed raving lunatic. We don't know what Paul George we gonna get from day to day. One day he wakes up and he's thinking about the stripper baby mom, and the next day he's back to playing. He's back to playoff P. We don't know who he's gonna get. Here's the thing: we gotta keep Porter out there. Porter, but he. I think the biggest issue that we're having right now, we're gonna have to just pull the trigger. We're lacking offensively by not allowing Porter to be in the game, just so that we can have a better defender, because Porter's a little light in the derriere. That's where we're at right now. So somebody's got to pull that trigger and make that adjustment and say, okay, we got to go straight head first with Porter Jr. and with Murray. And obviously, we're gonna let the Joker do what he does. And I mean, it's not rocket science to beat these people, bro. It's just not. We just witnessed Luka and Dallas take these people on the brink. Denver is a far better team, much better team, in my opinion, at this point than Dallas is. I think they're at least a step or two above Dallas at this point in the game. So that tells me that this game will probably go 6, maybe even 7, but I'm gonna still stick with my prediction of 6. And we could look for Denver to probably rattle off 2 in a row, and then it might be like a back and forth. I don't know. We'll just have to see. But I'm thinking we're gonna finish 4-2. I think that's what we're gonna finish off at in this series. I'm keeping hope alive. I'm thinking we're gonna make the right adjustments, and I'll see y'all on the other end.
Well, all that I could tell you is about your prediction. It's not a bad choice to. Damn sure not with the Celtics. Although I do Toronto, man, it's a team that a lot of people underestimate how good Toronto is as a team. This team doesn't really have a star. They play really well team-centered basketball, something like a Spurs, like a faster paced Spurs club, more respectable, but really a team dynamic, and that's why they were able to get back into this series with Celtics, even though I think the Celtics will take care of them in 6 games, or perhaps 7. I wouldn't be surprised if they push it to 7. And as far as the Nuggets concerned, you damn right. The Nuggets are a tough team, man. They are loaded. They're well coached. I like how Coach Malone was able to make the adjustments against Quinn Snyder's Utah club, how to play Gobert, and it showed the rest of the NBA how you can beat Rudy Gobert and that Utah Jazz team. If it wasn't for fantastic scoring from Donovan Mitchell, I think that series would have got done a lot sooner. But the way Jokic is playing right now, the Joker is playing unbelievable basketball, man. I mean, he almost had a triple-double in this matchup, and it went down. If he'd had some more support, they probably would have won the game. But Denver is a dangerous team, no doubt about it. But Paul George and Leonard together, when their mind is and when they're playing and they're in sync, it's a dangerous duo. And I don't know if Denver, at times, when they're playing that kind of ball, if Denver can keep up with them is all I'm saying. But I think this is a 7-game series, in my opinion. But anyway, let's go on to the next topic of discussion, which is today. Mazi, today, baby, 5:30 Central Time, the first matchup, the Heat and the Bucks. 3 games to 1. Miami is in control. And just to brief some people on that Toronto matchup coming up soon, Serge Ibaka is in a walking boot. So him playing in the next game, we don't know. He was big in these last several games. He's in a walking boot, so Toronto, watch out. But anyway, as far as the Heat and the Bucks are concerned, Mazi, 3 games to 1. They rallied to win, even though Giannis went out with that apparent injury. What's going on? What's your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, I just saw. It's crazy that you asked that because
he's not ruled out.
Started the show out. Huh? Yeah, I think he is ruled out. But it's crazy that you asked that because funny story. I was at Academy across the river right before I came to the show. I came into work today, did the show, And I went back to the gun department, and Jimmy Butler was back there buying a big old shotgun. I said, Jimmy Butler, what you back here for? So I'm getting ready for Giannis in the night. We're gonna take him out back and blow his head off. We're gonna shoot him right between the eyes. So you gonna see, hey, listen, it's over with today, man. It's over with today.
You know what? You got all the puns today, huh? He was back in the he was buying the big shotgun for the Bucks.
Big old
for the deers.
For the Bucks.
For the deer.
And he was buying Bucks for the Bucks. It was crazy. And I say, he said, I said, what you doing? He said, man, I'm going deer hunting tonight. Man, the man had all kind of deer feed and all kind of deer pee and everything. I mean, man just had everything in a big old basket. The way you gonna be? He got, man. He said, man, look, I'm about to go to the front. They got the big deer tower, you know, the stand. He got all that. Man, the man had spent $10,000 in the academy. I witnessed this with my own eyes. And I said, man, where you going with all that, JB? Because that's me, I know on the first name basis. That's JB, that's my partner. So I said, JB, where you going with all that? He said, man, I'm about to go back to the bubble. We going deer hunting tonight. I said, oh, yeah? He said, yeah. I said, okay, cool. So he already gave me the word personally that he taking old Yella in the back, old Cujo, and he going to blow his head off on live national television in front of everybody. So we'll see exactly how that plays out, but I definitely think Miami gonna take this tonight. Matter of fact, I think Miami will win by 10 or better tonight.
Wow. I don't even know. They haven't ruled out Giannis from various reports that I've seen. I mean, you might have seen something different.
It doesn't matter.
But well, I mean, Spoelstra really surprised me. I thought that the Bucks, who were clearly like one of the favorites coming out of the East, would represent, but man, wow, has it really just fallen apart for the Bucks. We'll see if they can save their season. Their season is on the line tonight. Would they be desperate enough to kind of force this series along? We'll see. 5:30 Central Time, Heat and the Bucks. Okay, moving to the Central, to the 8 o'clock primetime matchup, 8 Central, Lakers and the Rockets. The Lakers and the Rockets series even at 1. What do you think happens here, man? LeBron James, almost a triple-double last matchup against him. Would it be a series similar to what happened with the Lakers and the Trailblazers? Like, of course, they got their first win, and of course, then after that, the Lakers kind of filled them out, and then after that, they just got the key on them and just ran away with it. Is that what we're going to see here for the rest of the series, Mozzie? Mozzie, you still there? All right, his phone must have dropped.
Yeah.
Did you get the question? What happens with the Lakers and the Rockets here? Would it look like the same series to you that it looked like with the Trailblazers, with them just peeling off 4 straight wins to decimate the Rockets, or you see a 6-game series, a 7-game series? Thoughts?
No, this would be a 6-7 game series. Frankie V, another friend of mine, he got to make some adjustments, man. He got to make some adjustments. It's not going to work with 2 bigs on the floor at the same time. LeBron is already, I guess, a big, but I mean, he can check any position on the floor. There's no secret. LeBron has been known throughout his career, even in year 17. Maybe not so much the 5 no more, but I mean, LeBron is throughout his whole career has been a all 5 position defender. He can keep up. Maybe AD can keep up, but those other guys can gas. Kuzma, who's kind of, he's generally a pretty good defender. He's getting his ass handed to him. I mean, JaVale McGee, he can't keep up. I mean, he does what he can do. Dwight can't keep up. I mean, the small ball is doing his job. And for whatever is always said about Coach D and what he's doing out there in Houston, y'all have to understand, man, it's tough to make those kind of adjustments, especially when you have sunk your whole ideology and team and built it around trees. LeBron 6'9", AD 6'11", 6'10", 6'11", with a wingspan of 9 feet. JaVale McGee is certified 7 foot. Dwight Howard certified 7 foot. Kuz and all them guys, they're not small guys. The Rockets are running from 6'1", 6'2" to 6'7". They're gonna have to make some adjustments just to be able to keep up with these people. And the looming issue is, and that's why it was such a good. I mean, because OKC only ran 1 big, which was Adams, and Adams, pretty good at keeping up with and the reason being is because he played with Westbrook and PG and KD, so he already kind of understood how to make his mark in a running gun, shoot it out type offense with that kind of team. The Lakers are a half-court team. LeBron brings the ball up, generally speaking, in a half-court set, and then they facilitate the offense that way. That's not going to work with this team because they're going to get out and run. They remind me of the Dallas Mavericks, the 06 Dallas Mavericks with Jason Terry and Nowitzki. And I mean, you remember that team, as soon as they got the ball, they were lightning in the bottle. They was running all everywhere, and nobody could stop them. That's what I'm looking at right here. That's what I'm seeing from this Houston Rockets team. Out, obviously, a 7-foot shooter in the middle of the floor. I'm looking at a bunch of guys that are really, fairly talented, really good shooters, really fast, and they're just trying to outrun everybody. I don't know how long that's going to last, but I mean, look for it to be a really long series unless Frankie V swallows his pride, makes the correct adjustments, and gets some of those bigs out of there.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting series to me, man. It's the bigs versus the smalls, in my opinion. We're going to see because the Rockets, one thing they can do, two things they can do. They can run and they can shoot. And whether the Lakers can catch up and play ball and make them eat that, we'll see how it shakes. All right, let's move on to some more discussion. We're going to have to answer a few questions from the chat. Some of the family members, thank y'all for joining us. Please hit the like button. Big ups to GM Kev in the building, Kai the Great 84. Once again, happy birthday, happy 36th birthday to my boy Kai the Great 84. Much love to you, fam. Thank you. Appreciate your support on your birthday, my man. And the Saints will honor that birthday wish. Much love to you, Pat Thompson. Good to see you in the chat as well. Big ups to you, Robert Clark. Who that to you as well. Brian Pearson. Who that? Lee Wood, JT, and the rest of the family members. Thank y'all for joining us. Brian has 3 questions, man. They're gonna hash out Brian's questions. They're basketball and football related, but we're gonna knock those out before we get into our NFL brief. He says, do you think the Saints will re-sign or running back? Okay, Alvin Kamara, just to answer that question, Brian, there's reports, we talked about it at the start of the show, that the Saints are very close, as the words used in several reports from Fox Sports, ESPN, and others, to say that the Saints and Kamara are super close, very close to a lucrative extension. So just to let you know the latest on that. He said, do the Pelicans have any coaching candidates yet that they're looking at? There are several candidates that the Pelicans are mulling over. A lot of the guys that they want to talk to are still on teams that are in the playoffs, which means they'll have to wait until the playoffs are over, until whoever they're looking at teams lose for them to get an opportunity to talk to them. But there are several reports out indicating that the Pelicans are going to do a very slow and thorough search. I mean, look at guys like, they're going to even look in-house at, guys like Fitch, like Chris Fitch that was here. They like him. A lot of the people inside like Fitch. They're going to give him, an interview as well. There are other people involved. There's Nate McMillan, people throwing in the briar patch, and several other coaches as well. Tyronn Lue, to his time, that Griffin had with him in Cleveland when they won a championship with LeBron up there when he came back. So it's several candidates, a bunch of candidates out there. Not so much we don't know about Mark Jackson, even though they had a far-reaching report that was saying about Mark Jackson and whether or not he was interested in coaching, which that's my pick, is Mark Jackson. I think Mark Jackson is the guy. He's a no-nonsense coach that knows how to teach basketball. He played in the game for 17, 18 years at a high level. So I think he was a point guard for a long time, and he would be able to get a guy like Zobal together and teach him how to run that team, teaching them how to play defense. Remember, he set the foundation for the Golden State Warriors dynasty, which then Steve Kerr came and started winning all of the glory from. So just to answer that question.
Oh, man, come on, man. Stop, man.
Of course, the Schwam doesn't like Mark Jackson. He prefers that the Pelicans go out to get the very goofy one. I call him goofy. I think he's kind of a goofball to me. Mike Brown is a guy that the Schwam likes, and he also likes Schwam. Go ahead and answer Brian's question about who you like the Pelicans to look at, or who you think they are looking at now.
Well, I think touching on the Saints question, I think they're going to re-sign Kamara. Like we discussed before the show, I think that was a big ploy, a stall tactic to try to pull off this this conniving backdoor act they tried to pull off with Clowney that didn't work and blew up in his face, and it wound up costing him not only Clowney, it almost cost him Kamara at very worst or best is going to leave a pretty bad taste in Kamara's mouth. But I think winning will kind of cure that. We did lose Clowney, and we weren't able to move or capitalize on Fournette. And in my opinion, all of that was centered around trying to get one player, i.e. Jadeveon Clowney, to match with Cam almost got him Jordan on the other side. So obviously, yeah, when that falls through, now the day after or 2 days after that, we getting all these weird reports about we're close to a deal and yada. They were always close to a deal. They just needed to know how much money they were going to have to come up with to make that Jadeveon Clowney deal happen, and how much it was going to cost them, because they were going to inevitably have to give Cleveland some cash money records for Jadeveon Clowney to try to some draft picks or whatever, and they wanted Cleveland to try to eat some of that, take some of that expense, because they didn't have the cap space fund. So they're gonna try to, do a bait and switch, which is cool. I get it. Roger Goodell called it almost like he called the one with Chris Paul when he tried to go to the Lakers and he 86'd it. And so now, yeah, we're gonna get a Kamara situation done. Now, yeah, of course we got the money. As far as the Pelicans coaching position, I am a big Mike Brown fan. I think that Mike Brown did a really good job managing those egos. And if anything with the Nets job showed you, we don't need, these guys are going to learn. These guys are going to adapt. These guys are going to get better by playing 82 games a year, practicing, playing with each other, pause, doing all kind of, just gelling. So that's going to come. I don't think we need a coach. I always told you that in the NBA, when you got all of these superstars or these budding superstars, they're going to be who they're going to be. Not only so many X's and O's you learn. Now you got to play the game to get the experience. That's what's lacking here. The talent and ability to play the game is not lacking. The experience and know-how and veteran poise is what's lacking. Now, to get from, say, point A to point B, you have to bring in a coach that's going to be an ego manager more than an X's and O's guy. Because I'm going to tell you, Zion going in his third or fourth year, he may not have one now, but let him get a couple of all-star appearances or playoff appearance or scoring title or anything of that nature, and the egos are going to start, especially with Brandon Ingram, who in my opinion has kind of been standoffish since he entered the NBA. So we need a guy that can come in and kind of like give both of those guys their own individual identity. And if we're going to stick with Zoe, we got to get somebody that can really reach down and pull Zoe, the real Zoe, out of that shell, because it's almost like he was functional under his dad, and when he left his dad and got here, he became non-functional. He was pretty good when he first started, but I mean, when he had to go off on his own, and I really don't know what happened, but he came to the bubble and was a totally different person. So we're going to need a guy that kind of micromanages all of that, which is why Steve Nash is a great fit in with the Nets. What can any coach come and tell Kyrie or KD about playing a game of basketball? They can't. They could scheme. They could have different play sets. They could have all of that. However, they can't teach these guys something about basketball. I mean, they already know pretty much everything about basketball. They can help call timeouts, manage a game, put on a jersey and, hey, man, you're doing this. He's beating you here. He's beating you there, because they're on the outside looking in. But as far as teaching the game of basketball, when you make it to this level, there's nothing else you can teach, right? You might be able to work on a certain part of your skill set that is lacking, free throws, shot, or whatever. But as far as the game or essence of the game of basketball, there's nothing left to be taught there. We need somebody that can come in and manage these egos, manage the big-headed egos, and some of the more timid, introverted people like Zoe, kind of bring them up to par and bring them up to speed if we're going to stick with this team.
Okay, that's pretty good. But let me ask you, which coach do you see? Which coach is that? Is that guy?
I'm Mike Brown.
Oh,
I am Ty Lue, although I don't think Ty Lue is going to happen.
No.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
Hey, me myself, I was still, which I know you swear by this not going to happen. I'm still a big Byron Scott fan.
No, man.
See what I'm saying?
We've been there.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
We've done that. It was a lose.
Yeah,
It didn't work.
But listen, when he was here,
you can forget about that one. That's not gonna happen. Byron Scott is damn sure not on the market. Not for us, not for the Pelicans as a coach. But go ahead.
Well, I mean,
crazy things have happened.
I'm just telling you, Kev. I'm just trying to give you. Steve Nash was a crazy thing that happened. I'm sure anybody would have took probably Byron Scott over Steve Nash if you were looking for an actual coach. I didn't see that coming. Shit, we might get Reggie Miller. Who knows? I don't know. Anything liable to happen right now. I don't know. But I think that we need to shoot for a younger coach. I think we need to shoot for a more ethnic-driven coach because he kind of understands the dynamic, especially of the young African-American player. All of those things kind of play a part. I know no one wants to talk about those things. I know a lot of people discount those things or pretend that those aren't actual things that exist. But when you're building a team and you know, whether in a workplace or on a basketball court, the head has to understand his players and how to motivate the players. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what has to happen before we do anything. We have to get a legitimate head that can micromanage and deal with all of the egos from the top to the bottom.
And you're saying Mike Brown is that coach?
I'm saying Mike Brown. We've seen Mike Brown's work in dealing with LeBron and all his head cases that he had. Spoelstra had to deal with the same exact thing. And you can't discount that as being a legitimate thing. You can't do that because it is a legitimate thing. And you understand that unless we get somebody that can micromanage the egos, the X's and O's part will never manifest itself. And it's pretty much irrelevant if we can't get the egos in check. So I've seen Mike Brown's work as far as checking egos. Mark Jackson, I've never seen it because he started with a virgin team. The team, they didn't have the star power that they had at the time when he got there. He polished the team up, and then obviously Steve Kerr came and put the finishing cherries on top to make them a championship caliber team.
Steph Curry was there when Mark Jackson was there, Mazza. He was there.
Huh?
Steph Curry was there.
No, Steph Curry was there, but Steph Curry was not Steph Curry. We know he wasn't Chef Curry.
He wasn't Chef.
He was Stephen Curry.
No, he was Steph Curry. He wasn't Chef Curry yet. Curry. He wasn't there yet. But he had to get. No. That was the foundation to becoming Chef Curry. He attributes that to Mark Jackson teaching him how to do everything.
He's supposed to because that was it. Listen.
We ain't gonna drag on that, but you know, I'm just drawing that in there. But go ahead and finish your thought.
I attribute NWA to 1992. That doesn't mean that they're a relevant fit for me in 2020. You understand what I'm saying? So I mean, I don't know. I like Mike Brown. I love Mike Brown. I really don't like the Mark Jackson thing. You play pool, don't you? How do you in pool? How do you end the game of pool? You knock the 8 ball, the black ball in the hole, and the game is over with. That's pretty much what Mark Jackson is. He got his little cushy contract being a commentator. I think we need to stop right there. Because if Mark Jackson should happen to apply, we already know he's blackballed due to the comments that he made.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know. I'm definitely looking at Mike Brown, though. I like Mike Brown.
All right, Jim Kev said, if they hire Mike Brown, they are fools. Okay, that's Jim Kev dropping knowledge. Okay, one more question before we move on. Brian Pearson says, who do you think the next Sixers coach will be? I say Tyronn Lue. Maz, who do you think the Sixers coach will be?
I definitely think they get Ty Lue.
That's top list.
Yeah, they're in desperation mode right now. If they don't get Ty Lue, I mean, at least if they get Ty Lue, the fans. Philadelphia is all about appeasing the fans. So the fans want Ty Lue, they'll get Ty Lue because they'll know they'll be able to sell season tickets at least one more year. And that's how Philadelphia and traditional piss poor run organizations look at things. They look at things year to year. How could I con 50,000 people into giving me their money for 41 games? So I mean, if they get Ty Lue, they'll get 50,000 people to give them their money for 41 games, and that's how they'll figure the rest of it out.
Okay, appreciate that, Mozzie, for that comment. Thank you, Brian, for your questions. I'm gonna get to your question, Lee Wood. Good to see you in the chat, my friend. Big ups to you. JT says, Q said it before. Why should we have to wait for a player where a Super Bowl? We're a Super Bowl team. We don't wait for no player. I hear you there. JT going off. Javier, good to see you. Said the guys on the NFL Network had the Bucks winning the division except for K. Wow. Well, the rest of those guys on the NFL show are numbskulls. Nate Burleson is an absolute joke. That other guy is a weird. I mean, they're just jokes, man. What can I tell you? They don't know football. And later on tonight on TFC Q&A, I'm gonna play you a skibit from ESPN where they had Mike Tannenbaum on picking the Saints to miss the playoffs. I'm gonna play the interview, and actually Ryan Clark had a really good response to that. I'm gonna let him defend me on that. I'm gonna play that tonight on TFC Q&A for my our Patreon champions and the YouTube members. So if you want to participate in that show, it's not available to everybody, just our Patreon and YouTube family members. Feel free to sign up at patreon.com/ the PRO Media Network, or become a YouTube member to get access to that show. We'll be doing it tonight at 6 o'clock. All right, now let's keep it going here. I'm gonna get to your question, Lee, about whatever defensive juggernauts here before I get. No problem, Brian. Thank you. Lee asked a question about defensive juggernauts, and we're gonna get into Lee's question. Then we're gonna jump into our NFL topics because I want to talk about the Alvin Kamara thing just briskly. Yes, sir. There are still a few people out there that can help you. Clay Matthews is out there. There's still Jabal Sherrod out there. Cameron Wake is out there. And that's pretty much some of the guys. Ziggy Ansah is another guy that can come in and give you a veteran pass rush, because you just want a veteran to come in and give you some depth. Of course, these guys are not guys. Perhaps Clay Matthews, Mozzie does recognize him, so he's not great value. But Cameron Wake and probably Jabal Sherrod and Ziggy Ansah is probably guys that he would consider great value. So that's a few
great
guys.
Value. Little John, great value, and American Pride.
Okay, see that American Pride. Now, what American Pride belongs to? Winn-Dixie?
No, that's America's Choice. I'm sorry, you're
America's
right.
Choice.
So
okay.
America's Choice is Winn-Dixie. Great Lil John was Swagman, and great value is Walmart. So yeah, you're right.
Okay.
You got one name brand, great values. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. All right, let's move into the next NFL. We're going to talk about our NFL topics. This one is coming straight from ESPN, among others. Alvin Kamara is extremely close, quote, end quote, to a lucrative extension. This coming from ESPN. Alvin Kamara and the Saints are extremely close to a lucrative contract extension, according to sources that are thrown out by Adam Schefter on Tuesday. The two sides are hoping to finalize a new deal in the next few days and would silence any trade speculation. Of course, Alvin Kamara sideswept questions about his contract talks, insisting that his focus is on Sunday's season opener at Tampa Bay. And he's headed to the final year of his rookie contract, but so far, he and the Saints have been unable to bridge the gap regarding a long-term extension. Of course, you heard what Alvin Kamara said, family, the other day about not missing any practice, and that he was there the whole time. He must have was hiding in the broom closet, and they missed him for 4 days. He went wanting. He had underground bunker underneath the facility that he was actually in the building. And I'll talk more about this today, family. I will. I'll probably, we'll definitely address any of these other things. But Kamara, according to reports, Adam Schefter says they're very close in the next couple days, which is not really any news because we talked about that, and I've said several dozen times, that the Saints wanted a deal done with Kamara before the first game. Well, they wanted it done before the camp ended, but then it went from that to getting it done before week 1. So we're on that timeline, even though it's Tuesday. So we're on that timeline. Anyway, Mozzie, let's move on. Unless you want to throw something on there, we'll move to the DeAndre Hopkins contract extension. If you want to throw something on that.
You already know how I feel about Kamara. I don't know. Where there's smoke, there's fire. We had that conversation, and how you start is generally how you finish. Kamara wants to be in Atlanta. We had a really good opportunity to get off him and get something for him. I mean, we'll obviously get it with the extension, but Kamara's making all these waves because he really doesn't want to be down here. And if it was up to me, which is not, thank God, brother Kev and a couple of other people, but if it was up to me, I'd have been dropping like a bad habit and got me some, I'd have got some good value for him. Because what's going to happen, he's going to get injured, he's going to get old, you're not going to get no value out of him. And I just don't think he's a $16 million guy. I don't think that he's a $16, $17 million guy. And that's what he wants. And he's probably going to get close to it. I'm thinking his contract will probably be 15.5 to 16. 15, 7, somewhere up in that area, and he'll settle for it. But I personally don't think that he's for that. We're already tapped out, but the Saints are in full 1 year, maybe 2 year mode. So like anything's possible at this point.
Well, I agree with you saying, and Jim Kev said he agreed with you on that one, Mozzie. My thought process is, whatever the deal is, the extension is, I'm looking at 3 years. I'm looking at 3 years, and I said maybe 40 million, 3 years, 40 million. And you say, well, why is that, Q? Because everything that Kamara represents, I keep saying that people are confusing the running back label is simply what he does, and that's not the case. He's not merely just a running back. He does so much outside of what a regular running back would do. And he's one of 2, maybe 3 running backs in the NFL that can consistently give you a stack of scrimmage yards. He can catch the ball like a wide receiver. The guy had 80 plus catches last year from the running back position, despite the fact that he was injured most of the season. He led the team in rushing as well, despite the fact that he was injured. He does so much for the offense, it's ridiculous. So he should be compensated. And if people want to peel down his numbers, then do what the 49ers came out and said they were going to do. Or with the, actually it was the, which team said they were going to run the, what was it? I'll see what it is. But anyway, it was another team came out and said they were going to use a 3-headed running back attack. And I'm like, that's common sense. The 49ers use it. Several other teams use 3-headed running back attack. It's hard to get a gauge on 3 running backs if you're mixing them up well. You have a scat back that comes out and he's very elusive. You hit him with the power rusher, and then you have a finishing back that that you can lay out, that the guy that will punish defenses late in the game. What happened to that? Why aren't we not using that mentality? And I think that's due to Sean Payton not disciplined enough to keep a strong running game approach. But a lot of people are reverting back to the 3-headed running back tandem, and they don't have these issues with contracts, because when you give the bulk of the running game work to the man, he's going to want money when the time comes. That's how it goes. Yep. The statistics is how it goes. If you want to stop that from happening, simply use the 3-headed running back attack. And you divide up statistics that way, and they can't command these big fat contracts that we see from Christian McCaffrey or Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, Zeke Elliott, and the rest of these men, Saquon Barkley. The rest of these guys are going to get a lot of money. So it's called Sean Payton. I like to call him Young Frankenstein. When I look at him, I used to call him Young Frankenstein, because he kind of look like him a little bit. But outside of that, I'm just saying that he's creating monsters. He's creating monsters. That's what the hell he's doing, in other words. But anyway, we're going to cover that more on the show. We're going to do a show maybe about at 3 o'clock or 3:30. We'll do a sports coma. I'll touch on a few things. It won't be a long show. Hour or so, and as I get prepared for the 6 o'clock show on Patreon. But anyway, let's keep it going. Let's move to the next subject. DeAndre Hopkins, Mozzie. He agreed to a 2-year extension with the Cardinals worth $54.5 million. The Cardinals and Hopkins agreed to a 2-year extension today, and it's $54.5 million with a $42.5 million guarantee affixed to it. Now, the deal keeps Hopkins in Arizona for 5 years through the 2024 season, and it's $94 million total. The average of it is 18.8, almost 19 million a season, meaning he's likely to be their heir apparent to Larry Fitzgerald, who is due to retire after the season. Now, of course, you remember they landed him in March when they sent David Johnson in the 2nd round pick and a 4th round pick to the Texans to get him, and now they're giving him a big fat contract. And he tweeted out, I can see clearly now the rain is gone.
Rain is gone. Yes, he did, with the glasses.
Right, with the glasses. So what do you think about this massive extension on DeAndre Hopkins after paying Buda Baker? They paid Buda Baker last month. Arizona's not playing around, man.
No, they brought him in, and when they brought him in initially, it was I'm not mistaken, it was just a couple years, but then they wound up extending it, which brought it out to $94 million, but it's $42.5 fully guaranteed. So he basically doesn't even have to show up, and he's still gonna make $40 million. Man, this is crazy. I don't really know. I definitely say they're putting their money where their mouth is, and they drawing arrow to the wind, because this type of money, man, between what you're gonna have to pay if it pans out, what you're gonna have to pay Kyler Murray, what you've already given Hopkins and what you've already given. I mean, this is insane. I don't know. You got other players on the team. You're gonna have to pay the linemen. You're gonna have to pay the DBs. You're gonna have to pay the linebackers. Everybody's gonna have to get a turn. So when you giving one guy one piece to the puzzle, that's not the answer to the puzzle. $94 million. You know, not only are you creating problems for yourself down the road as it pertains to the salary cap, understanding that it's going to shrink due to COVID over the next 2 or 3 seasons, you're also putting you're also implanting a cancer in the locker room because, you know, being politically correct, nobody ever says this, but when you got a guy that comes in, right, and he's making $94 million, that kind of doesn't sit well with everybody, especially the guy that's just coming over trying to make a push, trying to make a change, and we're deficient in so many areas, but we're going to dedicate this massive amount of monetary resource to one specific guy in one specific area. I don't know about this one, man. I get it. I understand. That's their guy. They feel as though he's going to be the guy for at least the next 6, 7, 8 years. So they're going to put their money where their mouth is. They feel he'll be relevant for 5 to 7 years. So they give him 5 years. They tie him down for 5 years. I get that. I personally wouldn't have done that, not in today's NFL, because there's too many good players floating around in free agency, coming into the draft that you can get for bargain base model money that you won't spend almost $100 million on over the course of the next 5 seasons.
Yes, a large amount of resources delegated to those players, but as you said, they're trying to contend out in the NFC West. They're trying to contend. They have the 49ers there, there's Seattle there. Arizona is really trying to make their way, and they're locking down some of the young core and talent. And if they need to make moves as the cap shrinks coming into next season, I guarantee there'll be a lot of unhappy second stringers and older veteran players that won't be on the team next year. I'll just keep it real.
And that's what it all boils down to, and that's why the New Englands and the New Orleans and the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's why these organizations, even if you look at San Francisco, who have had peaks of here and there over the last 20 years, are going to the Super Bowl. Quiet as kept, they've been like 3, maybe 4 times. So what these teams do, they find value, and they don't just throw their money and basically cripple their entire team for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 seasons, you see? So for that same $94 million, we can get 4 or 5 really impactful players. Maybe not as dominant as Hopkins is on the receiving end, but man, we're deficient. We got really good DBs. We're deficient on the defensive side of the ball somewhat. We can shore that up. Maybe a linebacker or 2. Yeah, we need a receiver to help go along with Larry Fitzgerald, but I mean, we don't need to spend $100 million on him, huh? I could have got 2 really good receivers. We could have definitely got Stephon Diggs for a Happy Meal. Stephon Diggs for right around $25-30 million, easy, without even thinking. And I think Stephon Diggs is at least comparable to Hopkins for $100 million. No, you don't think? I don't know. It just I don't know if I would have done it.
Well, I mean, Stephon Diggs is off the market. He got traded to Buffalo, who is going to give him a fat contract and make him the top man of their offense. So I get what I definitely get where you're coming from. Okay, now also to let family members know, the Cleveland Browns also made a move today, reported on NFL.com. The Cleveland Browns have signed running back Kareem Hunt, who almost was out of the league, but he turned himself around, which can be an inspiration to a guy like Darius Geis once he gets through whatever he's going through, if you know how that pans out. But the extension is worth $13.25 million, including $18.5 million guaranteed. It's a 2-year deal at $13 million for Kareem Hunt. And he will now be under contract with the Browns for the next 3 seasons. He'll be playing behind starter Nick Chubb. And Hunt rushed for 179 yards, had 37 passes, and scored 3 touchdowns last season after serving an 8-game suspension for violating NFL personal conduct policies. Off-season, Hunt was pulled over January 21st by the police, who found small amounts of marijuana and a backpack, in his car. And Hunt was cited for speeding as well. So first-year general manager Andrew Berry indicated Hunt will remain in Cleveland's plan, saying that the team was looking forward to him meshing with our culture moving forward. And Hunt is a good backup back to have with a guy like Nick Chubb, to be honest with you, because Chubb's a beast. We knew when he was going in to the NFL that he was going to be pretty good. So what's your thought process on the rejuvenation project known as Kareem Hunt getting that 2-year $13 million extension?
That's a lot of money for a backup running back in this league, or a second guy in the league. But it's not an ordinary second guy, because he stood about 6 or 7 feet. Now that's that running back I'll be seeing in my sleep. You see what I did there? So listen, I'm gonna just tell you, man, Kareem Hunt is an absolute maniac. He's a beast. And again, it's one of the telltale signs, like I always tell you, man. When you're in doubt or when somebody's in trouble, you could pick them up for a lunch and meat on French, bro. You could pick them up for a hot dog on toast. And that's in essence what they did pay a lot for him. But you got a starter. You got a starter that you're cloaking as a second string guy, and you got 2 really good starters in Hunt and Chubb, to where, especially with your receiving core, if Baker could pull it all together, man, and you coaching is where it needs to be this year, Cleveland can make a really good push. But, you know, I also say Kareem Hunt was out there for a very long time, cut and just hanging out there chilling. And we didn't, I mean, you know, and again, it's not always about getting a piece that you need, because the Saints are stacked, packed, loaded. So it's like we don't really need anything. But if something is hanging around, it's like this. I don't really need another car, but if I just happen to pass like a car lot and they had a Ferrari sitting out there for like 10 grand, I'd be inclined to pull over and see what they're talking about. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't need it, but for that price, man, the price that Leonard Fournette went, which could have been probably half of that, and the price Hunt went for, which could have been easily a third of that, the Saints just missed on both of those, man. And I don't know, bro. I think I'm going to get my bag resized for my head this year.
Man, I tell you what, man, it's gonna be interesting, man, to see how it all shakes out. But yeah, Kareem Hunt behind Nick Chubb, of course. We'll see how they turn to use him in there, because he's a pretty phenomenal back in his own right. To have him and Chubb together, we'll see. Because Cleveland not tripping, man. They got a lot of money to spend, so I guess that's how they're looking at it. $40-something million they had after everybody's money. So Saints try to arrange a sign and trade with the Cleveland Browns, and anything you do with the Cleveland Browns, it ain't gonna work. Go ahead, brother.
I gotta ask you a really serious question, bro, and maybe you can enlighten me, because you're a very educated, smart brother, bro. Why do everybody else get name brand players but the Saints? We always get these great value, busted up America's choice players, bro. Why is that? And it's not like they're not out there and other people get them. Why don't we ever get them? Bro, we gotta make our people household names, and the only household name we get come with shoulder injuries and back surgeries. Like, what is that about? Like, we'll get a name brand player, but he gotta come in. We'll get a guy that's missing 3 fingers. He was a beast at one time, but he missing 2 fingers off his right hand. He missing his pinky off his left hand. He ain't his 10th year, but his first 5 years he was an absolute man child. We could have got him, but we passed on him. We gonna get him in year 9 or 10 with 3 fingers missing. I don't understand what you got going on, bro. I just don't. and I used to fall for your ideology, because remember years ago, man, these players have value. It's about the system. Sean Payton gonna get it together. Watch, I'm telling you, he's gonna watch. Okay, I watched, and I've watched 3 consecutive seasons us fall short to get into the Super Bowl. 2 NFC championships and 1 second round game. Well, I'm sorry, 1 NFC championship, 1 second round, and we got bounced in the first. So it's getting worse and worse every season. So I've watched this movie before, bro, and something's got to be done. We gotta start investing and taking care of, like, working that free agent market. We can't keep coming up with players through the draft or getting these 7, 8 year, 9 year guys, like when we got Adrian Peterson. He on the back end of his career. Latavius Murray. I mean, you know what I'm saying? All these guys, he's a running back. He's what, year like 6 now? 7? He's up there. Come on, man. We got to do better than that. We got options. They got people out there. Why don't we ever get them? Can you expound on that for me, please?
I mean, you have to have a vision for players to operate within your system. And if you see a guy out there that can really help you in a way, and then the part of it too with the coaches is coaches got to keep it real. If there's a guy out there on the wire that you see and you know that guy is more talented than the guy that you have on your actual team, you're gonna have to keep it real to a degree to say, okay, let me get this guy here because he's gonna help to improve the team. And it's just it's a certain nearsightedness that Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis have gotten over the last several seasons, where they've some kind of way developed the tunnel vision. If you look at what happened with the Jadeveon Clowney situation, that's a clear indication of what I mean. There are several other players out there that can give you good production, that are veterans, that won't cost cause you to need to do an illegal signing trade with the Cleveland Browns or whomever you have out there to try to bring in this talent here, as opposed to clearing the cap months ago or operating months ago. If you really felt that way about this player, why did you sit your ass down there for all that time and allowed all that time to elapse before making a move? Nobody asked those questions. Nobody asked Sean Payton that. None of the reporters said, why did you take so long to move on Jadeveon Clowney? No, why didn't you do this several months ago? Maybe you had a better shot at landing him before Tennessee and the rest of these other teams got involved that had an interest in him. But that's nobody wants to admit, except for me and several other the family members, that that they're dragging their feet here, and they're not operating the same way that the Saints did originally to win that first Super Bowl. There are certain indication things that you got to do, man. You got to know how to keep it real. And I think that if you would get guys like you talking about great, the great value candidates, they're getting the great value guys, but the thing is they will not, keep it real. Like Everson Griffin. How do you justify not going after Everson Griffin, who was paid $6 million by the Cowboys for 1 year? You didn't have to clear in their cap. Saints had $7-8 million on the cap. They could have signed Griffin for what they had on the cap if that was what it was. And he could have been on the team today practicing all throughout camp. But you wait till camp's over with to bring this guy in and want to pay him $15 million, send people out, chefs out, and whatever wine and down on him and him take a flight out there and all that and still lose it. See, and that's what I'm saying. We have problems here, and people not willing to look at it. Alvin Kamara deal should have been done as well. So the name brand deal right here, the Saints can get name brand guys if they wanted to, but they don't see these guys for whatever reason. They just was hell bent on Clowney, and I just like, okay, I see what he can do, but there were other men out there that can do it. Yannick Ngakoue, you could have got him for a second round pick. You didn't have to give up any money. He was willing to take a pay hit to play for a lesser team, like what he's doing in Minnesota. Yep. He's saying the pay cut was worth it just for him to get out of Jacksonville. So, like I said, man, it has to do with the vision of the coaching staff at the top of his head. It all falls on Sean Payton. And often I was told this too some years ago, and I've been slowly putting this in my mind, is the fact that he doesn't want to have a personality like one of those big superstar impersonal name brand player personalities on the team that will clash with him.
Oh God!
So I mean, I've heard that before, and I've kind of shooed that away. And that would explain to a degree why you don't have like a superstar, that a really good player that's outside the building, that's good already and comes into the building. Most of our stars were made in the building underneath Peyton. Kamara, Mike Thomas, Cam Jordan, and all these other guys. Drew Brees wasn't a superstar when he was in San Diego. He became a superstar when he came to New Orleans. So as you can see my narrative right here, you can see most of the guys. Malcolm Jenkins is not a superstar. And truth be told, he was drafted underneath Peyton. So, like I'm saying, man, what I'm saying over and over again is there's that aspect that I was told some time ago by very old Saint men back in the game that told me about that. So, we'll see, man. It's a lot going on. That's why I think, in part, why we don't have the name brand guys. You have to go out there and see those guys and go and get them. And besides, a lot of guys you might consider great value, I might not consider great value. They're not exactly, great value. They might come at a great value price, but they're going to give you really good production. You see what I'm saying? So you might actually catch that name brand steak on sale because they have a surplus of steaks there. They have to, put them on sale. So you might get that expensive steak for the next price down. Sometimes that happens. So, that's my take on it, fam.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to live with that. I don't really like it, but I'm gonna have to live with it because you know me. I love name brand players, boy. I love name brand players. The Lake Show got name brand players. The Clippers got name brand players. Tampa Bay got name brand players. And one common thing with all those people, they all contenders. Now, we've made our own name brand players. Mike Thomas has become a name brand player. Drew Brees has become a name brand player. But, I mean, it is what it is, brother. We're going to have to do something about that quick, sooner rather than later. But we are tapping in this week, man. You know what, bro? We might need to have a good old-fashioned family, like viewing of this, man. We need to, man. You know what? Maybe we need to see if somebody in the family could possibly, we need to put some stuff together of them, man. We need to all come together and have one big thing, man. We can kind of watch the game and kind of, it's going to be a big game this week, Q. This is the game of the week right here, bro. We need to try to maybe figure out something where we can, like, invite some of the family members in, man, and try to, like, interact with them, man. Maybe you could do some signings or something, and we can come out, meet and greet. We got t-shirts, giveaways, some food, whatever, and get ready for the game this Sunday. What you think about that, Q?
I don't know. It'd be kind of hard for me to do that sort of thing right now. I mean, I'm moving around a little bit, so I mean, we'll approach this. The timeline is real close on it, but perhaps something that'll something that we definitely want to do. I guess in the season, is what I'm saying, because that was something I was championing and pushing for this past season, is to do something.
Yeah, I know.
Like
I remember you telling me that, man. We gotta work something out on that, bro. Hey, bro, I ain't gonna lie. This give me something to do every day. I love it. I absolutely love the fam. I love, coming on the show and, doing my thing. I know everybody don't. I know brother Kevin and JT. A couple of people don't like me. We go through it, but for all intents and purposes, man, this is cool, man. This is what we need. Because only through like your voice and a couple of other like really influential leaders, man, that we gonna get this thing turned around on every level. But we really need somebody to call Gail Benson or call Mickey Mouse Loomis and get some of this stuff done. Because they got the players just hanging out. Well, ain't nobody out there now. We done let all of them get away. So I guess now we just gotta eat it and figure out what we gonna do, maybe by the trade deadline or maybe sometime next year. Good thing is we already pretty strapped that we can go. We good to go.
Yeah, I think, a lot of family members, they got love for you, Miles. Appreciate you being as consistent as you are, and I appreciate the family members for supporting TSC Unleashed. It was kind of a thing that we wanted to do to kind of talk about, the stuff outside the Saints world. I know a lot of the family members that love the Saints and love the Pelicans also love pro basketball in general and will love talking about it. So this is what this represents, and I'm happy that Uncle Miles is a part of it, bringing his wealth of information there, because I know the family members got love for Uncle Miles, Jim, Kev, and the rest of the family members as well. So no doubt about it. We might have to do something, man. I might not be able to do your idea, but perhaps maybe a live situation where we'll do a live show like we did the playoff game. Perhaps we might be able to do a live show like that, where we'll be set up live and the game's playing and we're previewing it live and stuff like that, or something like that. If the family member's cool with that, let me know how y'all feel about that in the chat. If y'all would support something like that, and we'll kind of work it out and see what happens with it. But we'll see, man. It's a lot of fun stuff going on, but it's also the pandemic stuff going on. It's a lot of junk going on right now, but maybe we could do something virtually here, equally as close as what we could. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I thank all the family members for chiming in on this edition of TSC Unleashed, man. It was a longer show because we had a lot to recap this Labor Day weekend, and I hope every one of you guys had a very good Labor Day, man. Labor Day weekend. Extended weekend was a lot of really good sport action going on, a lot of stuff dealing with the Saints that I wanted to talk about, but I was on kind of my little mini vacation right there. But listen, family, we'll fire up a show. We have the TSC Q&A later on today for 6 o'clock. We'll do a short TSC in about an hour. So join us for that as well. So as usual, I'd like to thank all of you guys for joining us for TSC Unleashed. Uncle Miles in the building. Appreciate his contribution as usual. We will be back tomorrow with TSC Unleashed at 1 o'clock. Is our set time, 1 o'clock, as we get back into the groove. And we'll recap the playoffs, the NBA playoffs, and more NFL news, boxing news. We got you covered on TSC Unleashed. So once again, hit the like button, subscribe if you aren't a subscriber, and feel free to share the links of the show on your social media. It helps us out tremendously. So from me and Mozzie, thank y'all for joining us today. Peace, and we'll holler at you later.